In this video, I'm going to demonstrate, which means you don't have to follow along, but you can listen and try to understand the importance of color grading and color correction. So the purpose of color correction is to clarify and start learning and noticing and understanding how color works and what actually makes your image either poor or good or decent. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of my old images and you can slowly see the difference between trying to edit older images versus newer images, and we're going to just explain what's going on. So the practice here, eventually, as you try to practice, is not just to learn the Vinci Resolve and color correction and color grading and so on and so forth. It's also to explain how to train your eye to notice what's going on in your images, in your scene. So very often when I'm doing something, I will go into the Vinci Resolve and I'll do some quick edits that's otherwise very difficult or time consuming to do in Unity, Maya, Blender, Unreal and so forth. Because what it does, it allows me to really understand what color exists in my scene, and it explains to me scientifically what's actually going on. So a couple of examples. Alright, so let's say we take this image. It's a very old image. It's one of my earlier images that was for a lighting challenge, my first lighting challenge, and came in second place. Now this is not one of the latest images, because the other one is a bit better, but this is the one that I did, I think, more or less the first time around. And let's have a look at this. I'm gonna do Alt S. Alright, and we want to balance the image first. So we can see it's pretty decently balanced, which is probably one of the issues with this image, that it's actually lacking color. But we're going to continue. I'm going to look at the waveforms. We're going to make it big, and I'm going to just quickly do this. So now I've already very quickly done a quick, you can see what happens before and after with this here. I have allowed the warmth of the image to come back a little bit by doing this color balance over here. Okay, so what else can we do? Well, looking at the image, you can see that it's starting to get balance, you know, but maybe you might be going and say, okay, it's quite warm across the image, maybe it's too flat. There are many things you can do here, and you can see in the background as well, there's something going on there as well. So I will then go in and go, okay, I'm going to use something called a qualifier, and you will learn all of this slowly as I repeat it over and over, using actual footage, actual videos that are a bit cleaner and easier to look at to understand these things. I'm going to select this. I'm going to press Ctrl H. Okay. First I'm going to make a new node, and I'm just going to select this, Shift H. You can see it's selecting more or less the warmer areas of the image. Okay, so you can see here, if I slide this back and forth, it's, you know, trying to select everything that's within this range, and I'm just gonna make sure I get most of the warmer parts. And sometimes I'll just, you know, drag back and forth just to get an idea of what's going on here, like so. Then I'm gonna maybe expand it a little bit, and then you can do a clean black, clean white, you know, get those areas. There you go. Blur it a little bit, maybe do some more clean black. Maybe you want to keep it down. That's possible too. Slide this a bit, white clip a little bit, reduce it down a bit. Okay, that's too much, so we're going to keep this. And then I'm going to go into the window. I'm going to use a curve very quickly, and all I want to do is just very quickly do a selection. And the reason we're doing the selection here is because I want to make sure that any further adjustment happens on a level where it's inside this. So I'm going to leave the warmth there for now and just keep going around very quickly. Being a bit sloppy, but that's alright. Go up here, there, in here, go there, and just make sure I get all of this, and this, and this, and probably here. Let's get this down. Just get this and put this there. You can see that it's allowing me to be a bit more thorough. So now I'm just saying I just want this area bit to be affected. Okay, and you will obviously go in, you will be a bit more picky, tweak it a bit, you know, make sure it doesn't get too sloppy, like so. Put that in there and there. You might use the softness to kind of make sure it's blending in and out a little bit. Shift H. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this curve one. I'm going to go to hue versus saturation. And let's say I wanted to get rid of the warmth that's across this image, or maybe I want to increase it. So let's try to increase it. Like so. And I could do Alt O, which is an outside node. So now it's doing the opposite. So if I go in the back here, then I can say, okay, I want to reduce a lot of the color in the background. I want to put an emphasis in the front. So that's basically what that's doing over there. I can then also say, add a new node. I can use another window, and I'll use a circle, and I want to put emphasis on this area here. Okay, around this area, and I want to lift it up slightly. Okay, so I'm doing a, we can see what that does, and I can also do a, see it with, that was earlier and this is now, so you can see that what it does is bringing the image slightly a bit ahead of, further on into the screen. You can see it's white in the background and it's kind of clearing the image a bit up. Okay, and then you can obviously go further in and you can say, okay, I want to do some, I don't know, some color to it, make it more cinematic looking. Maybe you want to go back to the original a little bit, so you're allowing a bit more cinematic look, and you know, starting to get something, adjusting that. And then you might go, okay, that is affecting this area too much, or the flame, for example, right? So you might add a node, and you might add a layer node, and you might add a window, circle window, and you can say invert. Or you can say I don't want this area to be affected too much, so you can limit this one, and you can instead say, okay, I'm gonna make this even more warm, as it really is that high impact going on in this area, like so. So we're really pushing it, the highlights and everything. So let's have a look before and after. Okay, so this is some of the values of doing this kind of editing, and you can see there's a lot of work involved, you know, it's the white balance and everything, and then you do these things afterwards. So I'm just giving you a general idea and demonstration.